Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC. Big transfer waves are hitting Anfield. Liverpool are going all in for £125 million Alexander Isak, chasing a 50-goal wonderkid, and even reigniting talks with past targets like Hugo Ekitike. With rivals like Man City and Arsenal circling, the Reds are making bold moves to build an unbelievable 11 next season. Let's dive into the latest transfer drama. Liverpool's incredible 11 next season with £125 million Alexander Isak and more new signings. Liverpool have already spent nearly £200 million on new signings this summer, but the potential arrivals of Alexander Isak and Mark Guéhi could nearly double that amount. What a difference a year makes. Liverpool barely got the checkbook out during Arne Slot's first summer, now they can't seem to close it. You'd forgive the Reds for tightening the purse strings after splurging £185 million on 3 new signings in June. Florian Wirtz broke the British transfer record while Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez didn't go cheap either. But Liverpool are showing no signs of cutting back, with 2 Premier League stars on their radar. Starting up top, Slot's side are ramping up their pursuit of Alexander Isak. Liverpool chief agreed transfer for Chelsea forward and had private jet booked. Liverpool to make next move in £125 million Alexander Isak transfer chase on one condition. The Premier League champions are closing in on the England international, whose contract with Crystal Palace expires next summer. Guéhi wouldn't come cheap, with the 25-year-old due to lead Palace into Europe after captaining them to a memorable FA Cup win. Part of the reasoning behind Liverpool's interest in Guéhi is the fact Ibrahima Konate finds himself in a similar situation at Anfield. The Red centre-back looks set to run down his contract amid reports that he could follow in Trent Alexander-Arnold's footsteps and join Real Madrid on a free transfer in 2026. Some fans have urged Liverpool to cash in on Konate, or even relegate him to the bench if Guéhi signs. The former Chelsea prospect would slot into an already new-look defence, with Frimpong and Kerkez set to be the fullbacks and Virgil van Dijk the sole remaining figure from last season. They'd still have the reliable Alisson Becker behind them in goal, with Georgi Mamardashvili having been signed with a view to becoming his long-term successor. Continuing with Slot's trusted 4-2-3-1 formation, Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis Mac Allister would remain as the double pivot at the base of midfield, but it won't be Dominik Szoboszlai ahead of them if Wirtz is employed in his favourite position. Although the versatile German can play on the left wing or as a striker, Slot would likely get the best out of him in the number 10 role. Mo Salah is a non-discussion on the right flank, while Cody Gakpo or Luis Diaz, the latter of whom reportedly wants to leave, would operate on the opposite wing. And through the middle, there's no doubt that Isak would lead the line. Negotiations for those yet-to-be-completed deals would, of course, take time, and the Reds have less than a month until they open their Premier League campaign at home to Bournemouth on Friday, August 15. Liverpool's first competitive match is 6 days beforehand, facing Palace in Community Shield. Liverpool locked in transfer talks for 50-goal wonderkid also wanted by Man City and Arsenal. Liverpool remain in talks with Salford City over a move for 17-year-old striker Will Wright. Liverpool remain in talks with Salford City over a move for striker Will Wright. The Reds are currently stepping up attempts to bolster their striker options, with Newcastle United's Alexander Isak emerging as a leading candidate, but they are also looking to strengthen at academy level. And 17-year-old wonderkid Wright is very much on their radar, with discussions ongoing with Salford, who are co-owned by Manchester United legends Gary Neville and David Beckham after they bought out their fellow, class of '92, former Red Devils teammates. Nothing has been agreed between the two clubs yet. But although a possible £300,000 fee has been mooted in some sections, the Echo understands that any deal for Wright would cost less than such a figure. However, Liverpool are not the only club interested in signing the 6 feet 3 inches teenager. Arsenal, Brentford, Leicester City, and Burnley have also monitored Wright, while the Daily Mail reported earlier this summer that Manchester City were set to rival the Reds for the youngster's signature. Wright is now going into the second year of his scholarship with Salford after being spotted playing for local sides Exton Villa and Filda only 2 years ago. He scored more than 50 goals at all levels for the League Two outfit last season and came on against Pep Guardiola's Man City side in the FA Cup at the Etihad in January. Wright ended up making 4 first-team appearances for Salford, who are managed by former Liverpool Academy coach Carl Robinson, last season, and was included in their matchday squad on 11 occasions. Meanwhile, he has scored 3 times for the club's first team so far during pre-season. Speaking after netting a brace against FC United, Wright shared his gratitude at being granted first-team opportunities. "I feel great, I'm ready. For all of us, it's a fantastic opportunity," he said. "Just to be even playing games, let alone training with the first team. Getting the opportunity and gaining the experience and taking things back to the B team and academy where we can influence them and hopefully bring more and more up, hopefully bring more people through and get more debuts." Liverpool revisit interest in Alexander Isak, alternative they didn't sign before. Liverpool reportedly discussed Brentford forward Yoane Wissa when weighing up possible striker targets earlier this year. Liverpool are ramping up their efforts to sign a new striker, with Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike 2 of the leading candidates. But the Reds have reportedly also considered plenty of names beyond the pair. The Athletic has reported that Victor Gyökeres, Victor Osimhen and João Pedro had also been on the club's radar, and also pointed out that Nicholas Jackson was a player that sporting director Richard Hughes had liked when with Bournemouth. Meanwhile, the Daily Mail has added further new names to such a list. Also claiming that Liverpool have mentioned Osimhen, they report that Marcus Rashford, Ollie Watkins and Yoane Wissa had also all been discussed by the Reds. In truth, it is perhaps easy to theorize why those latest names did not go any further than internal discussions. The Mail points to question marks about Rashford's form in recent seasons as one reason why his name was quickly dismissed, and that's without considering the fact that a player has not moved directly between bitter rivals Liverpool and Manchester United since 1964. As for Watkins and Wissa, they are set to turn 30 and 29 respectively before the end of the year. Despite being proven Premier League performers, age alone is likely to take them outside of the Reds' preferred profile for transfer targets. However, Liverpool discussing Wissa is no surprise. After all, he is a player who has been on the club's radar for a number of years, long before he signed for Brentford. The DR Congo international has just enjoyed the most prolific year of his career, scoring 20 goals for the Bees in all competitions as they secured a top-half finish. But the Reds' initial awareness of the forward dates back to his time in France, with him shining for both Ajaccio and Lorient prior to his £8.5M switch to Brentford in 2021, returning 47 goals in 4 seasons. However, having already been transformed by Jurgen Klopp following his own arrival at Anfield in October 2015, Wissa was not a player they ever pursued. But had Liverpool been further behind on their journey, Dr. Ian Graham, the Reds' former director of research, admits things could have been different. "At Liverpool we admired both Brentford and Brighton's signings, though we never told them that," he wrote in his book, How to Win the Premier League, The Inside Story of Football's Data Revolution. "Me and my colleague Daft Steele used to keep lists of players who looked outstanding in their domestic leagues but were either not quite good enough for Liverpool or played in a style that didn't fit ours." Liverpool makes Hugo Ekitike transfer approach after sending Alexander Isak ultimatum to Newcastle. Liverpool is in the market for a new striker heading into the new season, and amid interest in Newcastle star Alexander Isak, the Reds are also looking at Hugo Ekitike. Liverpool has made an approach to sign Hugo Ekitike as the club looks to sign a new striker ahead of the club's title defense. While the sporting consequences of the tragic death of Diogo Jota are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, his passing, coupled with the expected departure of Darwin Núñez, is set to leave the Reds short up front. While Federico Chiesa is considered an option through the middle, he is clearly not yet someone who Arne Slot feels he can hang his hat on. Liverpool was knocked back with an approach for Alexander Isak earlier this week, but the Swede remains Liverpool's #1 target, with France international Ekitike seemingly a fallback option.